We're just right around the corner from Daredevil Born Again, and oh boy, I am really worried. More worried than excited. And before anyone says anything like, oh, you should be excited again because they fixed the show from the original state that was in, they fired the bad people. I know about all of that. I know they retooled the series with new writers and everything, and I was kind of on the hype train again, still a little bit optimistic. The fact that they had to restart the series all over again was kind of a red flag. But then the trailer came out, and some other stuff about the series has been said too. Now I have a lot of concerns again once more. I've had concerns just like everyone else did when Marvel first announced that they had plans on bringing back Daredevil as a series. If we're being honest with ourselves right now, Marvel is just in a bad place, and their future looks to be really directionless. So the fact that they are bringing back one of my all-time favorite TV shows scares the hell out of me. The original Daredevil Netflix series was more than just a superhero show. Like, it's a piece of art. And the fact that the MCU wants to do something with that piece of art is just concerning. Because I don't think they have the capability of creating something that's even close to the quality that Daredevil was. The talent that was behind Daredevil in terms of writing, cinematography, acting, editing, and just everything was on a whole other level than we have seen before from any superhero project from the MCU or just any superhero project just in general. Daredevil felt like something A24 would have made, and all 3 seasons make this show a masterpiece, which I don't use that word very often to describe movies and TV shows. Again, was announced we had some more news coming out about the series, like who was going to be the people in charge, and I wasn't a fan of the people that they hired to write and direct the series. Like, the original creative team came from a few different shows like Covert Affairs. There was like one of the writers from that show, and then they had some Arrowverse writers working on Daredevil, and I like Arrowverse, but I think the writers that they hired were from the bad stuff from the Arrowverse. And they had some other people working on the series that were from some other obscure TV shows. And I was like, this is who Marvel hired to continue one of the best pieces of superhero content that we have ever gotten? Like, really? And it was also going to be a soft reboot too, which would have pissed many off, including myself. Thank goodness they realized that going the soft reboot direction was an awful idea, along with all the other ideas that they had in the original series that they were going to do for Daredevil Born Again. The leaked original series would have had me lose my mind, and they were going to kill off Foggy and Karen. And Daredevil wasn't even going to suit up to like the 4th episode, which is okay, you know, but apparently it's going to be like a bunch of legal stuff going on, and it didn't sound like it was going to be character driven, and the action I think might have been really bad too from what I was hearing. And the whole thing was just sound awful. I probably would have made 3 videos about how awful that series was, because I am so passionate about Daredevil, and if it ended up being that dumpster fire of original series that they were going to try to do with Daredevil Born Again, I would have freaking lost it. Marvel ended up scrapping their original plans and firing all of the creative people involved, which, you know, thank God. They started the series over from square one for the most part, because they are keeping some of the ideas from the original series that came from the bad creative team, and some of the footage they filmed they're keeping too, apparently. But the fact that it took so long for Marvel to realize that they messed up is just disgusting. I think they were halfway filming the original Daredevil Born Again series, and then the writer's strike happened, and I think they like re-looked over what they already filmed, and then they realized this was garbage. We need to retool this entire series. But like, really? Like, it took you guys that long? Like, this is Daredevil. This isn't some sort of generic piece of crap that you just want to put on Disney+. You're messing with a 3-season show with the actors from that show too, and we all put that show on a really high pedestal, and you guys are just like treating it like it's some other generic Marvel crap is really frustrating and annoying to me. Like, was Marvel this out of touch with its fans? All anybody at Marvel had to do was look up one video about how great Daredevil was and how most people put it on the level of being a masterpiece. And there's like a ton of videos like that out there. All one Marvel executive had to do, anybody on the Daredevil creative team, just look up one video. It only would have taken 10 minutes out of their time, but I bet they just thought they could do whatever the hell with Daredevil, and people were going to watch, and they were going to make easy money. And that would have been heartbreaking for the fans, insulting to the fans that, like, once again, Marvel can just do whatever they want, and they think their way is the best way with everything. Just, can't believe that original series was almost made. That just shows how money hungry and lazy Marvel has become. I guess they now listen to some of the fans because of what we've been saying from the start. I don't know what clicked in their mind, be like, hey, let's actually make a Daredevil season 4 and listen to the fans. Maybe one executive one day was just so bored they went onto like their YouTube or social media and just saw, hey, a lot of people want Daredevil season 4. They're expecting season 4 with this show because, you know, you brought the actors from the original series onto this series, and like he looks the same in the same type of costume and everything. Let's give into what the fans want and not what we want, and let's do a Daredevil season 4. I still bet you, though, the people working at Marvel right now still don't get and understand what made the original Daredevil series so great. I'm not going to go too much into the original Daredevil Netflix show because I've done that multiple times. I really did it in one video where I compared The Dark Knight to Daredevil. If you guys really want to hear a deep dive into my thoughts of why I love Daredevil so much and why it's just a flat-out masterpiece. And one of, if not the best superhero projects we have ever gotten in animation, live action ever. But yeah, it's just insulting that Marvel is treating this show like this. If they wanted to treat Daredevil like trash, then I wish they just did a complete reboot with new actors and a whole new story and just leave that show behind. Having these actors in the new show, if they wanted to do that soft reboot route, would have tainted the original series. And if this show is bad, that's going to taint the original series. Well, I'm still always going to have that show in my heart forever. Nothing that anything Daredevil is going to happen in the future, nothing can affect how I feel about the original series, but just seeing them make it something really bad with the characters I love, with the actors, definitely would have rubbed me the wrong way. So with that all being said, you might be wondering, what's the problem now? We have a new creative team that looks promising. The writers from Netflix's Punisher are behind the new season now, and Punisher was a great series. And also the show is no longer a soft reboot, and all the original actors are returning. All looks great, right? While elements of the original story will be in this, the wrapped vision of the original Born Again story that the old creative team had, some of the footage is going to be in the new version of Born Again that we're going to be getting, plus a lot of the story ideas that they had are going to be in this new version of Daredevil Born Again as well. We don't know how much or how little they're going to take from it, but we definitely know they're going to take some of that footage that they created before the writer strikes and some of the story that the original team had. But they also added stuff from the original Netflix Daredevil series, like Bullseye's in this, and the original Manessa is back. So yeah, all the new elements sound like they are pretty good, but just combining old stuff with new stuff in any like movie or TV show, aka like what they did with Justice League, for example, it always ends up turning the product into something mediocre or just flat out garbage. I have a lot more concerns too, like with the trailer. I'm not really getting a great vibe from the trailer, and also there was a moment in the trailer too where Kingpin and Matt, they're having like a conversation, and Kingpin brings up the fact that Matt stopped being Daredevil for a bit of time, and then Matt responds with, a line was crossed. Like, what the hell does that even mean? I guess I'm okay with them giving up the mantle for a bit, but I swear, if they undo the arc that Daredevil had in season 3 where we see him go through this journey that he would just never cross that line, he would never give in to killing, and he ended up killing in some sort of flashback, and that's why he gave up the mantle for a bit, I am gonna be pissed off. I just don't want some character assassinating reason to be why he gave up being Daredevil. So I am a bit worried that the characters might not be what they were from the original series. Also, the showrunner, who I thought was a good choice for the show, is now saying some questionable things about the original series that make me feel worried based off the trailer. But also the cinematography and the lighting already look like a downgrade from the original series, which won't be that big of a deal for me if that's the case in the new show. But it's like, damn, that's some of the reasons why I love the original series so much. It's not the main reason, it's like a minor stuff, but the fact that they took the time to care about every bit of detail and took the time to put effort into all this amazing stuff is some of the reasons why I love the original series. Now, I don't mean to sound so overly pessimistic, but Marvel is messing with something that I love. I hold Daredevil in really high regard, so I expect that level of quality once more. I'm not accepting mediocrity when it comes to this show, or something that feels half-assed. The fact that Marvel already treated this show with barely any care already pisses me off. Yes, they made up for it by realizing their mistakes, but the fact that they went into this series with bad creative people on board and bad creative decisions is just really concerning and just a big red flag. I wonder, if the writer's strike never happened, will we have gotten the original Daredevil Born Again series that Marvel had, the original idea that they wanted to do with this show before it got turned into essentially Daredevil season 4. I guess we'll never know on that aspect, but I am hoping for the best, but I am kind of expecting something mediocre with some great action scenes, because thank God the original fight coordinator is back on this series, but still, this whole situation really leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I am not making any final judgments, obviously, because I don't do that before the final product's out, but I am going to share my concerns and fears going into Daredevil Born Again. But yeah, Marvel really mistreated Daredevil so far. Question is, will all the changes that they did last minute make the show good? And has the MCU saved the show from their own mistakes? Or will this be an abomination of different ideas and tainting the original series? I'm just hoping for a great product, but we shall see.